Shankali, Kenzie ni yukyats, ukwe ni I, wage ni oda ni wage daloda, ot ni otuhati. So, hello, my name is Kenzie. I'm Oneida. My clan is the Turtle Clan. There's 3 clans, the Turtle Clan. And I asked, how is it going? Good. Is it good? Skanagoga, are you with peace? Maybe a harder question sometimes. Wagachanunichi sagut. So I'm happy to see you. So I just like to start by putting a little bit of Oneida out in the world. Okay, so this first one is called In Which I Become Tigerlily. And the epigraph is from the Disney version of Peter Pan, which is what makes the red man red, if you've ever heard that terrible song. The epigraph goes, why does he ask you how? Once the engine didn't know all the things that he know now. The way back from the fire was so long. 3 canoes worth of carving the trees once I got that rope off. I crackled, I snapped, and twisted and turned red, but was not also fire. Once, I did not know the good medicine, what month the strawberry peeks up from the path, which animals were clans and not spirits, which spirits for which we left the meal outside the longhouse door. Once, I did not know my name, though I knew the good cloth they wrapped me in, the women and their songs. You can't take my grandmother, no matter how tightly I am chained to an anchor, no matter what waterway I sail upon. It is in the fjords mother calls to me, always en route, FaceTimes another BC, GTC, blood quantum discussion. Brown in summer like fish skin in the pan, but I am never crisp enough. I love a man to Punnett squares, tear my own teeth out on unseen. No violence like it made me. Rage like it rocked me to sleep. These are not our lands, but the soil is good for growing apples. These are not our apples, but the flesh is good and crisp. Sometimes the rope was even a comfort, like a bruise, visible. Some nights I wished for that from him. But no one wishes for the tongue tie, lock jaw, for the smoke signal to work only one way. No one asks the red woman what made her. Once I did not know, and I asked, how can one hurt a fire if the skin is already bubbled and charred? How can one wound a wound? But it deepens with each new smile I learn. So this is, when I say I love you, this is what I mean. Perhaps these words too will vanish. The electricity will fail, memory cards corrupt, the generators run down, and even the pages decompose eventually or burn. I am no Greek, kept alive in libraries or the minds of curious men. These equations I write are not vital to our survival or progress. My telomeres will weaken. I'm not immune to age. And if I want it remembered the way you asked my skin to sing for you, or how your scalp blocks the scent of Oregon, the lookout tower, the flames just past the horizon, I can't hold it or make it stay, no matter how clever my pen, my fingers at keys. Your arms will fade from knowing. The particular blue hunger of you debauched in the confine of colored ink. Somewhere there's a museum of best mixes. Azure, lapis, mummy, and ochre, lined on shelves in glass vestibules, preserved for future study. There are interns dusting each collection, responsible for keeping the markers in good repair. So if I am the servant, whittling time, only to have it return out of knowing, if my body stains the air and settles on cruets or seeps into rags to become the perfect brown dunes and their shadows, my innards, the crimson cloak on a worshiper. If I am the pigment and the vessel, why not blue? Why not the light through the fogged air of that mountain? Why not memory engraved in something stronger? A stone arrow to arms that were and are good. So this is kind of, I feel like burst. This is actually a brand new one as well, like maybe in the last 48 hours, maybe not 24. Maybe I needed to give it at least one more day. So this is particular bees. How many times have I braided my hair with some other woman's? The dusk and dawn folding together like fingers of straw. How many times have I lip pressed, sought Eden inside the cavity of her? How many pink slicked surfaces have I chased with my needy, pink slicked tongue? I am the ugliest magnet. If you're not already undressed, get gone. You're making a mess of this dance floor. It's tiny light, or because it's not a dance floor, it's tiny lights flecked across your inner arm, your neck a diadem, your hands a lace window cut through with shadow. How many necks have been my exit? When do I say I'm really something else, an indigo outside the visible spectrum? When my mouth makes other claims to the round of your stomach, to the forest below? When will I unbury myself, say my flower has disappeared, only viewable by particular bees and bowed heads at the altar? And then these next few are from a new series I've been working on. And all you basically need to know is that, am I missing one? No, there it is. All you basically need to know is that this is kind of what happens, or, semi-true story. This is kind of what happens when someone calls you something for long enough that you have decided, okay, yeah, I am that, let's go. You can call me whatever you want. I'll just see what that's like to live in that body. All right. This is the letters I don't send. This is letters I don't send number 2. She had decided at last to become the villain. Floor-grasping sequined lame on offer in Joanne's bargain bin. Smoke bombs handy in the basement, where he'd left his stash of pyrotechnics and an empty plastic whiskey jug. Even the crows seemed cooperative, now drawn to the shine of her malice. Her fingernails sharp, narcissistic and manipulative. Weren't those your exact words? She becomes her own reflection. She asks her reflection, what's fair? This is number 3. Of course there was rebellion in the household, discord in the sleep cycles, one too many DUIs. Dig the hole deep enough, even middle-class money can't get you out. The time I gathered my birthday cash from its every hidey hole, days after my clothing spangled the lawn, bright and sodden, having flown in the night from the second-story window as you took your evening smoke, after the time I've called you a hack, I drove all the way downtown twice to bail you out. The evil queen raises her velvet hood over starry diadem, looking ever more the shrew every morning she sleeps in. Her voice is the snap of lightning, heavy rain. Her body is so pliant. Her dark powers decrease the longer you speak to her. Sometimes she waits up late, asking when you'll be home. This is number 8. Sometimes I think about all the times he almost killed me. The whip-skitter knee-hug ride through Vermont at night, so help me, and tweeting my last tweets like some millennial asshole, but who could I call after I'd exhausted every family member or friend who carried my things out the door only to know I'd carry them in 2 weeks later. Kicked down the stairs, and then hands at the throat and the shaking. Fast air like a whistle, and the pop, and the shh, as tympanum finally gave way. The blows to the soft round space between skull and spine, the dizziness almost sweet, for it was real, more so than the words. You cannot love, you are heartless, you ruined my life, you ruined your own. You did it to me too, which was also some real. There were no clear rumors in all that fog, but my eyes became lidless. Nights I pinched and shook myself and said, stay awake for what may come. I gave as good as I got when I could. I tore hair, I scrabbled and twisted. I even slammed to the tile a few times when my grip was solid and my ears still aching. Sometimes I stared at the knife rack. Sometimes I still do. The evil queen is indeed heartless. The life from you she squeezes, and her hands are steadier than mine. I have 2 more. This is number 9. 2 years from trapped in the barn, and one last drive to the airport, she asks the mirror again. The beard she finds does not move her. She has no wistful left for the line of the jaw, though it has also changed. The only empties are the ones she keeps. clustered for recycling, dreams less troubled by the day. The queen has glimmered obsidian to moonstone. Her wicked crown, once sheared at each point, now tendrils, the cold rubies, now diamonds, however flawed. I don't even flinch as I flick past your pictures, not anymore. It's as though she never loved him at all when she finally sent him to the forest, as though she did not listen for his footfalls or the sharp note of his axe, but from the beginning coined spells to ward every entrance. But no, there was an auger here. There was a poisoned well. I still flinch when someone cups my ear tenderly. And I will just want to say thank you guys so much for having me, and thanks. I'm so excited to hear other words and music, and I'm just really excited to check out Racine and this amazing community here. So thank you again, and thank you to Wisconsin too. So this is my, I guess I'll leave you with a love poem to Wisconsin, kind of. Yeah. What? Yeah, what? Like, you brought me to Wisconsin and this is what happened. So this is Wisconsin in the golden hour. The reeds look like runes, broken jutted mirrors as the light hits the water. I swear to God, I saw a pair of peacocks nibbling on that nearby field. Time makes errands of all of us. The fleeting hysteria, the momentary black hole, the zombie playground apocalypse, all in a 2-mile stretch. The fog fades, even in weak sun. A fire-loving pine spindles into the blue as the ash forest nestles around it. We love the singular pea shoot survival scene after the greenhouse goes up in flames. If I never left my vehicle, was I ever here? For every roadside fence, there is a red-tailed hawk, for now. Far-sighted, mindful of burrows and tracks, who can see through the golden fields to that flicker of iridescence. Anything is possible now. We're all just waiting for the sun to crack open. Yonka, thank you.